Hey, Tyler with Terradice here, and while doing some trail work today, I ran across a plant that, while it definitely grows in the state of Ohio, doesn't necessarily belong in the state of Ohio. In fact, it doesn't even belong on our continent, North America. Alearia petiolata, or commonly known as garlic mustard. Now, we've probably all seen garlic mustard in the wild before, but weren't exactly sure what we were looking at. Because for being so incredibly invasive across all of North America, this plant is incredibly plain. There's just nothing too sightly or not sightly enough to draw our attention to it, and it often gets overlooked. Well, let's hope we can change that today, and I'm confident that we can, because the great garlic mustard pool of each and every summer camp is a big hit amongst the campers. Every season, the kids come in, we teach them how to spot and identify in the field garlic mustard, hand them an empty feed sack, and they are on their way. I've seen kids as young as 5 years old be able to identify garlic mustard from 20, 30 feet away off trail, go and pull it. And if we're honest for a moment, that is one of the most rewarding things for me personally. Being able to provide the tools, the skills, the encouragement necessary to have people go out and interact in their green space, do hands-on conservation, do some citizen science outside, and that includes things like pulling invasive species. But back to garlic mustard. And it's just that. It's a mustard. And just like the other mustards we might know, like cauliflower or broccoli or kale or collards, it is a culinary staple, especially in places like Asia or Europe, where you'll find garlic mustard in its native range. People can eat just about any part of the garlic mustard plant here. You can add things like the roots or the leaves or the seeds to salads, stir fries, soups, stews. It's incredibly versatile. It's got kind of a bitter, garlicky taste. But it also goes by another name, sauce alone. And that goes back to the long-time tradition of making a sauce with, well, garlic mustard alone. And that's why it was brought to North America by Europeans in the early 1800s. It was a food component. One of the things that makes mustard is that the flowers come with 4 petals. And even though this plant right here, garlic mustard, can grow up to 40 inches, almost up to my chest, it's got teeny tiny little flower petals on it. Those flower petals, 4 of them in a cross formation, only get up to about 1/4 of an inch apiece. Now, every single flowering plant comes with a fruit. And I know you're asking, well, where the heck is the fruit on this thing? And if you look near the top where those flower clusters would have been, you're going to see these pods or these capsulations. And they're not quite pods. They're actually called calyx. They're a little bit different. But these are holding this plant's seeds. And each plant can develop hundreds of seeds. And what will happen is, in about another month or so, in July, August, this plant will seed out and it'll disperse those seeds within about 1 meter of the parenting plant. Those calyx are really pronounced and probably the best way to identify garlic mustard in the field, because a lot of times, whatever they're growing around, those calyx are going to be popping up above the rest of the foliage. And that's how I personally, a lot of times, identify it. Once those seeds are dispersed, they sit in the soil until fall. And in fall, they germinate. And they germinate into these small leaf mounds. And those leaf mounds actually survive into the winter, into the next spring. If you find one of those leaf mounds in the spring, and you take one of the leaves and you crush it up and you smell it, it gives off this almost horseradish aroma. The leaves of this plant are smooth and broad, and they come in anywhere between a triangle and a heart shape with toothed edges there. I'll show you another one here. Very, very tiny leaf, but very, very triangular in shape. Look at that. Huh. Now, if you've pulled some garlic mustard and you're still really curious about it, check out that stem. Garlic mustard has a really, really defined S-shaped stem. And this helps garlic mustard, one, establish themselves on slopes, and two, helps them establish themselves in a variety of different soils and conditions. Garlic mustard is invasive in North America, and due to its prolific nature, its self-fertilization or its cross-pollination depending on conditions, as well as the fact that North American fauna just not interested in eating it. This plant does not receive a lot of environmental pressures, so it reproduces and it grows. And it reproduces and it grows, and it reproduces and it grows, and soon enough it takes over the entire trailhead, or it takes over the entire hedgerow, or it takes over the entire forest floor, pushing out the native biodiversity which is required for a healthy forest, and replacing the forest floor with only garlic mustard. So I always encourage folks, when you are out and about and you see garlic mustard, please pull it. But oftentimes the job is not done there. Don't just leave it on the side of the trail. Don't just pile it in your yard. With garlic mustard, it's best to either bag it or burn it. And just like our campers, you can participate in hands-on, active conservation. I hope everybody's doing well. Take care.